Hello. This game loads so slowly. I started loading it like 10 minutes before stream time. I gotta sit up straight. You guys can see it now. Can see my slouching. Oh no. I have no idea what's working today. My brain's not working, I'll tell you that much. It's it's been a week. It's been so much. So we're playing Infinity, Nikki, because hopefully it'll be chill. If it ever loads. I just want a chill time. That's what I'm here for. But yeah. Let us fashion our woes away. Indeed. Indeed. Have the passion for fashion or something. I mean, I kind of do. I wanted to be a fashion designer as a kid. Did you guys know that? I mean, obviously Alicorn Pick did, but I really wanted to be a fashion designer as a kid. That has shifted to character design. I still love designing fashion for characters. And for myself. You're going to Disneyland tomorrow to celebrate Annie's birthday. Yay! You stepped on glass 2 days ago. Oh no! You've always loved design. Yeah. I've always been a little designer. If I ever got to meet Tim Gunn, I think I would cry. Like, there's not a lot of people that, like, I would cry if I got to meet them. I think if I met Tim Gunn, I would cry. I'm not, like, a big celebrities person, you know? But Tim Gunn. Let's make it work, designers. Oh, the game loaded. Yay! Why do I not hear any audio? What is happening? Excuse me? What? Where is my audio? We can hear it. Well, that's good. Hello, but upside down. Audio is just for us. Monitoring device. Yeah? Where the heck is my audio? I can't change. Ugh. Okay. I think what is happening? What is happening? You don't need sound to design fashion. You're so right. Are you kidding me? It's using... That's what I thought it was doing. Okay. My headphones... My headphones are in Bluetooth mode because the cable broke. I actually don't know what happened, where it went. Cannot read any of your messages when they're upside down. It's using... Oh god, it sounds like I've been put on hold. It's using the like call sound on my headphones instead of the stereo sound for some reason. And I don't know why. I had this problem with Peak the other day. What? My phone just started playing music? I don't know what's happening. I truly do not know what's happening. Let's see, where did I put that cable? Because I could maybe twist it up into a little licorice and make it work. It's just another thing. It's just another thing that just proves that the world hates me. I think the world hates me. If any Nikki is mad you called it slow and now you're reading the consequences. Aw, you're so right. So true, bestie. Well, if it loaded faster. Where is this cable? I never throw shit away, so I know it's gotta be around here somewhere. Cable full of junk, and I still don't have the one cable I need. It's broken anyways. I don't know why I'm looking. Alright, well, I can have no audio, or it can sound like I've been put on hold forever. Why don't games allow... gosh. Why don't games allow you to switch which, audio it's using? Like, is it really that hard? Okay. I'm gonna deal with it for now, and if my sensory issues get to me, I'll change it. I'll just go with no audio. I cannot read your upside down text. You could be saying anything. Alright, we can get this cute owl outfit. That's cute. Get free stuff. I'm not spending money on this game anymore. That's pretty. Oh, look at him. That's cute. Alright. What's this? Not the outfits, it's just the poses. Okay, I don't care. What? What did I say? have no room to talk. I've spent real money on Love and Deep Space. I've spent real money on this game, but then they were kind of jerks about it, so I don't want it anymore. I was hyper-focused on this game. I was so hyper-focused on this game, I was prepared to give them all my money. And then they were, like, kind of assholes. So I was like, never mind. Just give me free stuff. Ooh, Dreamy Glimmer is back. That's cool. Oh, and this one's back. I think I have this one. Do I have both? I think I have both of... I think I have all of these. Yeah, because I have the yellow one. So I don't need to do this one. Oh, I have a ton of permanent crystals. Let's do some rolls. Dan, I'm gonna need you to stop typing upside down. I really can't read that. I truly cannot read that, my friend. Got some cute sneakers. Alright, let's skip all this. Okay. So cruel. You could be saying anything, truly, and I couldn't stop you, and that's scary, so. When games, places, companies are dicks about me giving them money or making it difficult to give me money, it infuriates me. It's like, I have money. Let me give you the money in exchange for goods. Please stop making it hard or I will not give you money. Yeah. Ooh, that's pretty. Little like armband thing. Okay. Alright, we got 2 more of these pulls. Got that bow again. Alright, one more. One more! We'll watch the pretty cutscene. What do we get? Ooh, new shoes. Good. Got outfit 2 of this one. I listened to your speech right side up, but you won't read my upside down words. That's like orientationism or something. I'm feminist and I'll be reporting you to HR. What HR? I'm my own boss. There is no HR. I'm HR. Ooh, do we get the pink one or the blue one? I want the pink one. He's cute. Report to Jack about Jack's behavior. Oh, you're retorting to HR. Okay, yeah. That's fine. I don't have any pink crystals. But look at... Wait. Oh gosh. This one's so cool. Wait, her legs are clear! She's got invisible legs. I'm lagging so much, don't worry about it. She's got invisible legs! Wait, this outfit's so sick. That's so cool. Alright, well, we'll try our best to get this outfit. Ooh. If I had invisible legs, maybe I would have seen the glass before I stepped on it. Man, I have to get four of these to get this one. It's so pretty though. I probably won't get this one. But I like the main version of it too. I want this pink hair though. The pink hair is great. The glow-ups are always yellow. I don't know why it's always yellow. And they always put the orange hair with the green outfit. Like, yeah, it's pretty, but come on, guys. This is so funny. I love this. This is great. Look at this Bard outfit. Oh my goodness. Bard Nikki, let's go. Ooh. wait, that's so good. The patterns change and it's like Alice in Wonderland. Oh my god. You guys know I love Alice in Wonderland. Oh, check this one out. Look at this. The purple and green. Oh my god, so jaunty. Should I make a bard outfit for my VTuber? That'd be so funny. I kind of love that idea, actually. Oh wait, I can choose a thing that I want to get. Ooh, what do I really want to get? I really want these wings, I think. If I don't get anything else, having these wings would be really cool. Like, the clear feet are cool, but wings. Fairy wings. That'd be excellent. I need, You totally agree that the live-action version of Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp is the best variation of it, right? Right? No. My favorite live-action Alice in Wonderland is, oh gosh, I can't remember who made it, but she has dark brown hair and a yellow dress. Yeah. Wait, here. Let me, this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Yes, this one. This is the best. This is the best version. I need to watch it again because it's so good. Also, it's got the mock turtle in it. And like, look at him. And the fucking Cheshire Cat is whack. But yeah, this is my favorite live action Alice in Wonderland. Also, she has a yellow dress, which she's supposed to have a yellow dress. Actually, the blue dress was popularized by Disney. Oh gosh, Mirror Crown. Can I turn my settings down even more? Whoopi Goldberg Cheshire lives rent-free in my head. No, I literally can't. I can try that. Yeah, we'll try that. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. I fixed it. Partial to the animated Disney movie. Yes. Check out the Alice series from 2009. It was so cool. Ooh. I love Alice in Wonderland. My most prized possession is I have a Victorian copy of Alice in Wonderland. It is literally my most prized possession. Alice in Wonderland is my favorite anything. I found it at Dickens Fair. Everyone knows I live in the Bay Area, it doesn't matter. I found it at Dickens Fair. And I literally picked it up and I was like, oh my god, I need it. With a magical encounter. Yeah. We begin with the magical encounter. And I was like, it was like a few years ago. And I was like, Grandma, I need this. This can be my Christmas present. I don't care. I don't even remember how much it was. It wasn't that much. Did you ever look at the massive document that American McGee published as a proposal for what would be the final of his Alice trilogy games? Oh, no, that's cool. I love these little mushroom guys. Aww. Look at this little behemoth drawing. So cute. Yeah, it's too scary for Jack. But that's okay. Oh, this outfit's so cute. Little floof outfit. Love that. All right, login gift. Tales of Eatland, Starlit Pursuit, Notes of Growth. Okay. I have an autism about these little red dots. They get me. I don't like the red dots. Little notification shit. I don't like them. Though maybe the subject matter would override the scur factor. Yeah, I wish it did. Is that better? I don't know why we're so far sunk. There we go. That's better. Jack may be able to read about it, but watching it or playing it would be too much, I think. Yeah. I would like to try, maybe on a Penny Plays, we'll try. Because I do think it's cool. Yeah, it probably would. It's, a lot of the thing that gets me in horror is jump scares and music. Like, stressful music, sometimes I just can't. Interesting. They added a new Mira crown, and I have no idea what it is. I've not, like, tested it at all. The music is genius, but it would stress you out. Yeah. I think if Penny was playing it, maybe I could. Because I know that she's played it before. What is it in here that it just wants me to do a realm? I'll quick challenge that. No jump scares in the game, if I remember correctly, just creepy vibes, lots of creepy vibes. They aren't scared of blood. Easier when you aren't the one holding the controller. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I have it set up so that we can both have our models on screen at the same time, by the way. So, exciting, exciting. I think I've figured it out. So hopefully next Wednesday we'll try that. All right, we've got our new quest here. Which I'm going to track this warp spire and teleport here. I've still got my like Jack outfit.
I feel so tiny walking in Elderwood Forest. But strangely enough, it also gives me courage somehow.
You feel tiny, huh? Well. All right. Why do I still have notifications? Ooh, Shroomling Zephyr. Wait, I thought I already got that. I thought I already got this too, but maybe it needed to be reset for some reason. I have no idea. With how much you love Alice, how do you feel about The Wizard of Oz? I do like The Wizard of Oz. But I didn't get into it like as a child, so it doesn't have that nostalgia factor for me. Whereas with Alice in Wonderland was like my shit as a child. Like I had a VHS of Alice in Wonderland that I would watch all the time. But I do like The Wizard of Oz. And I want to see Wicked at some point. I just haven't done it. Any version of it. But yeah, Alice in Wonderland was a special interest for sure. No, I think I still like this one. I own part 1 and 2 we can watch sometime. Ooh, nice. Who are you? I'm Hilseti. There's an urgent matter right now and I'd like to ask for your help. What happened? This guy isn't white, look! We'll need tissues. I never got into Wizard of Oz and I didn't love Alice in Wonderland until I was older and I learned more about the proper original work. Remember Captain Ada from the expedition team? I haven't been able to reach her. Okay. The guild has been extremely busy. Miss Nikki, you're the only stylist I can get in touch with right now. Okay. No problem. Means I'll get to it sometime in the next decade. That's funny. Yeah, okay. I think that's all of the things.
Let's check out what the shroomlings are doing.
Woof! No! I scared the wolves! Come back, wolf! Go back! Look, this one's glitched out. Maybe I can still pet it. Come on. No! Alright, that's fine. Where's that rock? What was in the rock? Button cones! Can't pet that dog! Can't pet that dog! Yoink! Flip beetle! I pet that dog. No! Why? Alright, whatever. Get these bugs. Buggus. There's a Whimstar. Where's the Whimstar? There's a Whimstar. We'll go pet the Whimstar, it's fine. Coming for you. Saw the original clip for that audio the first time a couple months ago. I had no idea it was a bear. Yeah, yeah. It was not a dog. There we go. Cutie. Star. Hey guys. Go on. Yeah, there's guys over there. Got him. Easy. Have you ever seen a bald bear? They look like weird dogs. I have never seen a bald bear. What? Why is he bald? I thought that's a thing I could collect. Where am I going? The wrong direction. Google it, it's a site. Alright. What happened, buddy? Oh no! what? What happened? They look more like dogs than I remember them looking like dogs. Chupacabra. They do kind of look like weird dogs, though, huh? There are only two animals. There is dog and there is cat. I'm convinced. Why are they so weird? Wait, let's see. Let's put Momo in his new outfit. I got him a new outfit. Look at that. He looks like Keto. He looks like Keto-chan. Everything is crab. What's a snake then? Long crab. He looks like Pink Keto. Hello, Animort. Alright, we got that one. And I want this one. Alright, now we go this way. Everything. Everything is crabsome. Everything is crab when you are all just a crab. Jack, are you forever grateful to me introducing you to Cardcaptor Sakura? Yes. And I want them to release the second half of Clear Card now, please. Thank you. Clear Card? When? When are we getting that? Hello? Where is my Sakura? Hello? What's Swimstar? Oh, it's invisible. I don't want to mess with that. Still need to watch Clear Card. Ugh, it's just as good as the rest of it. But it's not finished yet. So you just get left on like a big cliffhanger. So I'm just like waiting for it to come back. Yeah. I was baby. But I didn't actually watch it all the way through until more recently.
Nikki, I think I see Ada up ahead. We found her.
We found her. Where you been, girl? They still make new Cardcaptor Sakura stuff? Yes. Technically.
It's about to fall into eternal sleep, but my research, it's not finished. I haven't gotten to tell its story yet.
What's up, Beta?
Everything will fade into silence.
Look how glittery Momo is.
There's no time. It's too late.
Hatched? No? It's like Pokemon meets Sailor Moon? Cool! I should watch that.
Are you okay, Miss Ada? What do you mean?
I didn't like Sailor Moon, but, it was back in the day where it was harder to find, so I'd have to find it on some convoluted website that probably gave my laptop viruses. Yeah. It was awesome, though.
The girl and her furry friend. I'm quite all right.
I tried to learn the lyrics to the,
reading this poem and my heart
to the theme song. I have most of them. I remember most of them. Although right now what's in my head is the Oran Host Club theme song. I started watching it in Japanese, by the way, and there are so many jokes in Oran that just get missed in the dub, which I had no idea of. Like, fancy tuna is not, it's not like some weird, like, I don't know what I thought fancy tuna was. It's otoro. It's literally like just the fanciest cut of tuna. It's just otoro. I don't know what I thought it was as a child.
A poem?
You haven't read it? That might be for the best.
But yeah.
Perhaps the gods wish to
There were some other ones, but that was the one
sorrow.
that stuck out to me the most. Was like, oh, it's yeah.
The folks we passed earlier.
Got hooked on Chico recently. Thankfully, I've avoided the terrifying merch addiction thus far. Are you also a Jaden Animations fan? My top 3 magical girl anime are Cardcaptor Sakura, Full Moon Sagishite, and Rose and Maiden. I need to watch those other two, if they're up there with Sakura. Is it good? The merch pops off. I might be, maybe. Have you heard of a little VTuber recently, Dan? Kairu Crocodile? You might like her.
The Forest of Slumber is on the edge of Elderwood Forest.
Chico is far more adorable than it has any right to be. A little VTuber.
The farewell.
Kairu Crocodile. Let me show you.
I'm sorry, I can't help but cry.
Let me show you. Is she small like Amelie? No. Is she fit on DVD? She's a little VTuber. And if you go to her channel and just watch just any of these videos, I think you will like her a lot. She's very similar to Jaden, actually. She cooking egg on a spoon? Cooking egg on a spoon? Amelie? It's not a trap. I promise you, it's not a trap. It's just something that happens in the VTuber world. And if you know, you know.
Can you show me the poem?
Oh, of course. Things might make more sense once you read it.
Posting this again because I need you to see. You'd love Rose and Maiden. It's about sentient BJDs that have powers. That's me! I'm a sentient BJD that... Wait, I don't have powers. Well, maybe one day. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if I had a magical boy outfit one day? That'd be so cool.
The land grows tired. Its time draws near. As stars fade and fall, the forest's song we hear.
Come, the withering blossoms, entrusted to time. Feed our sprouting hopes, come rain or come shine. Let the fallen leaves write the prologue of your parting. Though this moment was long foretold. Though like you, I have never feared the shadows of death. Hi, Fluffy Puff!
The withering
Oh, I see why you mentioned this. I had no idea. VTuber fashion drawing stream when there's so many options. Ooh. VTuber fashion drawing stream. Maybe I'll do that on Monday.
This poem, it's so sad and hopeful at the same time.
I'm doing okay. I've had a week. I've had kind of a week. But it's fine.
I agree, Nikki, but it seems like everyone's only focusing on the sad parts and overlooking the hopeful ones.
Infinity Nikki makes everything better.
And the dead is incredibly painful.
Pastor shit.
A small spark of hope feels too fragile to bridge it.
The separation. I suppose you're right. Just thinking about it makes my heart feel heavy.
You're waiting to play D&D in an hour and a half? Nice.
Maybe that's why the once terrifying behemoths seem a bit gentler in our memories.
I didn't hear the yippee. Wait. No. Wait, I can fix this. I can actually fix this. There we go. That was a loud house. Was it? Was it loud? I can turn the Twitch alerts down. I'm thinking of doing a very special hot tub stream too. 100% safe for work and safe for Twitch, of course. What? Alright, have fun with that.
That's right. It's
there we go.
I didn't have a chance to get to know it properly.
I can hear it now.
Pure as snow. Under the sunlight, it must have been so...
I know, I keep asking for nudes, but I am joking.
That day,
I am
even
asking
told
for
Luna that if I
nudes,
ever got a chance,
Noods.
I'd touch it myself.
Please send me
Feel
noodles.
that
I will
softness
take pasta.
firsthand.
I will take any other kind of noodles. Just noodles. Yes.
Miss Ada.
Jack, I thought you were Ace, but okay, I am Ace. Don't you dare send me actual nudes.
A behemoth's rest.
I will also
is a
accept
long
nudes.
and poetic
Yes, good.
farewell. If you're curious, you can go see for yourselves in the forest of slumber. Oh, right. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Noodle
What brings
Divergent.
you here?
Noodle Divergent.
Oh, yeah, our mission. Hilsetti said that the guild has a super important document that needs your signature.
Yeah, Noodle
He hasn't been able
Divergent.
to reach you, so he asked Nikki and me to find you.
Oh, I was so heartbroken I had forgotten to reply to him. I'll head to the guild and find him.
Let's head to the forest of slumber, Nikki. We
Dan
can hear
has
the
somehow
forest
seen
song
your
just at the coast.
nudes. I'll also accept newts. Yeah. Newt. I should add that. That'd be a funny audio thing. Newt. Alright, let's go to the Forest of Slumber.
Huh? Where did this glimmer come from? Looks like there's a cabin up ahead. I think the glimmer is heading straight for it.
I want to change my outfit. Let's see. We'll replace this outfit. It's called the Forest of Slumber, so maybe like a sleepy kind of outfit. I do. I have no shame. Yeah, like start with this one maybe. And then this is the one that goes over top of it, but maybe that actually goes really well. But we're doing like a beast thing as well, so do this one. Wait, don't I have a? I do. I have this one for like nighttime. Let's see. Let's just like change this up a little bit. Look at the way the hat clips through. That's so funny. I love when people are like, what if your pic was up on the net for anyone to see? And I'm like, it is. It might be better for your mental health. Oh my. Okay, let me quickly like remove accessories. Let's pivot before this gets too dirty for Jack's sake. Yes, please. What's everyone's favorite noodle/noodle dish? Oh, Spetzel's good. I like Nikki to have pink hair. Ooh, that's really cute. Gemelli and Fusili. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen Gemelli. It's like, no, kind of cute, kind of casual. That's good. Can I dye this? Kinda. Cavatappi's good. They're open on one side from being rolled into a tube. That's pretty good. Yeah, that goes really nicely with the rest of the outfit. Let's see. I don't think I want to change the tights. I think the tights are good. That's really cute though. I do like the lighter tights, but it's like nighttime, so it's dark. Garganelli. Anyways. I'm so glad Kenja's not here. Oh. I almost got. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Nothing at all happened. No! I called myself out. Nobody would have noticed. Nobody would have noticed. Nobody even thought about it. Nobody even thought about it until I said it, and then I said it, and I do like Kenjamin as a member of this community. However, I am so glad that they are not here for this particular conversation. This might be the least Jack-friendly chat ever. Maybe. Maybe. I don't have a good... There's not a good pink in here. Oh, it's getting crunchy. Why is it crunchy? I don't like it that it's crunchy. Anyways, anyone been to the zoo lately? I wish. I want to go to the zoo. Oh, that reminds me. I need to change that. Anyways. Let's go to the beach. Ninky Minjaj. Payment for crime. Do you think that gets you out of punishment for crime? Alright, I'll go look at the Discord. Alright, what's in the That's good. I like that. It's like paying a fine. Public indecency is probably a fine. I guess you're right. That's a really pretty hairstyle. Oh, that's cute. Ooh, that one's really pretty. I do have these pink pigtails. That's good, I think. You have 25 followers, but I still can't have emotes because Twitch is counting it at 24. What the heck? That's so rude. Wait, I thought it was 50 to get to affiliate. Did they change it? $25? Bye, Nomi! See you later! Behave yourselves! Oh no, there's no mods. There's no mods left. Ah, it's just me. It's 25 for affiliate now. Dang it! Oh well. I'm happy for new streamers. What, you don't want us to have emotes? No, I want you to have emotes. I just am jealous. Okay, I'm jealous. I had to build 50 followers. I had to build 50 followers and it was a lot of work and I'm jealous, okay? There. Jealous that you're better than us? No. Jealous that I had to work like twice as hard. It took me twice as long anyways. My emotes are gonna be despicable. That's cute. You should stream though. Yeah, you're not gonna get 25 followers without streaming. I want like... I can't dye it though, so it's got that yellow on it. Oh, headband's cute. Go stream this week? Nice. We should have a community stream calendar. We should have a community stream calendar. I don't know how that would work, but that's a good idea. Should put it in like a... I think there's a suggestions place in the Blecking crew. There probably is a way to do something like that in Discord. I feel like it would have to be a specific set of people, though. Oh, wow, look at that. Like a specific set of people have access to it. Because otherwise it's going to turn into chaos. Could do that one. That's pretty cute. Yeah, I think Black would have to make it. Let the cat in the hot tub. Discord can what now? Like, yeah. Yeah, it would have to be like a curated list of people, because otherwise, like, if anyone can join on it when we get bigger, it's gonna cause problems. But I think that's a good idea. No, I saw what you wrote. I just don't believe you. Ooh, that's cute. With the little cuffs peeking out. I like that. Yeah, that's good. I don't believe. When I ever has said something not 110% truthy. Right now. You are not le hurt. Well, sleeping dragon's pretty cute, but fancy hurt because it's French. Right. Need more people to watch the Fallout show. Sorry. I think that's good. Well, you could put it in the Discord and spoiler it. A lot of people do that with their shows. Might find someone else who's watching it. Yeah, but I haven't heard anyone even mention watching it. That's okay. Post it anyways. Maybe they're also looking for someone to mention it. I had a game I was gonna call Friday Night Nickel, but legal told me it was a bad idea. You guys. Your bag is cute. It's fine. Tech support is watching, but he won't talk to you, so suffer. Oh, I got these to hold now. That's cool. I can just walk around with them. Baby dragon. Twitch told me I'm getting Infinity Nikki drops from watching this. Yeah, apparently there's like drops that you can get from watching Twitch streams, but oh, these are on their own layer now. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, chat. Alright, I think I want this makeup to be a little lighter, and then we'll get the heck out of here, I promise. These are just our normal eyes, right? Yeah. That's cute. I like the sparkles on the face. Alright. There we go.
Follow it, Nikki.
Wait, Momo needs to match me. Sorry. How do we get Momo to match? That works. Now he's blue. So I went with homunculus. Whirlwind fruit. Ooh, that's new. New fruit. It's become kind of an ongoing thing for me to be like, I have no idea what people in Discord are saying, but he does. And it's like I've made friends with people who really should be his friends instead. That's funny. Wait, there's a quest here? Oh, he wants a photo of the behemoth. Dog. Oh god, is it gonna... Ah, the dog's running away. Those dogs are hard to catch, man. Come here, dog. Why can't I groom this dog? I can groom the behemoth. Man, there's still encoding problems. This game is not very well optimized. Alright, cool. Oh yeah, that guy wanted a photo of it. Maybe it'll be easier to get a photo than I thought. Hang on. They made a very subtle nod to super mutants in this week's episode. Huh. That's cool. Behemoth, Behemoth, Behemoth. I wonder if this counts. No, it doesn't. I have to go take a photo of it again. That's fine. I guess it could be compared to like when they restarted Doctor Who in 2005. But they didn't put the Daleks in right away, so everyone was waiting for them. Mm-hmm. Cool. What I get? Gems! Alright, where am I going? Nope. Nope. What can I get? Ability enhancement. Yeah, that's good. Posture check. Thank you, Luke. Hello. I'm not that shrimpy today. I'm a little shrimpy, but that's because I still don't have a monitor, so I'm playing this on my tablet, my like drawing tablet, and it's lower than a monitor should be, so instead of looking up, I'm looking down. Cutscene time.
Wait a sec. Was that cabin always there? I don't remember seeing it before. The glimmer landed on that book. Hold on. Is that...
What's the book?
A collection of poems?
Ooh.
Melody?
Oh no.
Huh. I think that must be who owns the book.
Not plural
But
math.
why just leave it here?
Ooh.
Huh? It went inside?
Weird. It looks like a Sheikah book. It's got the like eye on it.
The land grows tired. Its time draws near. As stars fade and fall, the forest's song we hear. Hold on. Momo, doesn't this sound exactly like the poem Miss Ada gave us?
Shrimp. I'm no shrimp. Whoop. Yes, yes. Subscribe and get shrimp emotes. you can get shrimp emotes.
Momo?
I'm okay, Nikki. What happened? How did we end up here? All of a sudden, oh, that glimmer.
Let me go. I have to see the Frostborough Behemoth. It's dying. I won't be in danger, I promise. Please, let me go.
Frostbow Behemoth? Momo, let's go take a look.
The fading of life. It feels so heavy. Just knowing we can only
That's what I've
stand by and
subscribed
watch
for.
it slip away.
Subscribe for shrimp
Powerless
content.
to do anything. I can't help but...
We should be grieving at a time like this. We ought to show some respect for those who have passed. What's a bard doing here at a time like this? Just singing and playing like nothing's happened? I mean, the lyrics sound like a mourning song.
You
for
do
the
have a lot more
Frostborough
emotes than what
Behemoth,
Twitch gives you
but
as the
shouldn't that
default.
melody feel a bit more
So that's a bonus
somber?
to your 50+ follower thing. Well, I've built those up from subscribers past. You unlock more emote slots the more subscribers you have. So if I get like 20 subscribers in a month, I think I unlock a new animated emote slot and a new regular emote slot. Yeah, it's like Christmas Pass.
Maybe everyone's mood.
The
is
ghost of
looking off
subscribers
lately.
passed.
No, my
Woo!
heart's aching.
But yeah, so the more you guys
That bar seems
subscribe,
to
the
be having
more
a pretty
emotes
different
we can
reaction,
get.
don't you
That's
think?
how that works.
Let's go talk to her.
I mean, I can't
We
subscribe
are
more.
like
That's true.
intertwining
Tell your
streams of the
friends.
forest,
Come subscribe. Give me all your money.
shimmering in the dawnlight like teardrops. I think teardrops works better, like trembling dewdrops in the morning light. It keeps the poem's airy rhythm while adding a touch of gentle sorrow. Teardrops. Teardrops. You're right! It does fit!
What, like I'm rich? Yeah. Obviously. Obviously, sorry, I can't talk. Obviously, you guys are all filthy rich and can give me all of your money without any consequences to you.
Thank you, miss. Oh, and your little round companion, too.
A round companion!
Farewell.
Usually they call him Yellow, but today he is round.
What do you mean by it?
Round Momo.
Oh, you must be passing through,
Homeowner.
Miss Tinky. Or stylist, perhaps? Such a shame. The Forest of Slumber isn't exactly the best place to find inspiration. Momo and I came here for the Frostbow Behemoth's slumber, but we've run into some strange things that we don't quite understand.
That's right. We planned to come straight here, but we saw this cabin right near the Forest of Slumber. We found this strange poetry collection inside, and before we knew it, we were here.
Nikki, Momo, a small cabin, a strange poetry collection. Well, whatever the case,
Her dress matches
since
the
we're all
poem
here for
book.
the Frostbow Behemoth, that makes us friends.
Her dress matches. Look, it's got the teal and the gold.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Melody, a bard who roams this land. I am the forest's most devoted traveler. So you're Melody. We saw your name on the poetry collection back at the cabin. The cabin? Oh, yes! I call it my verse haven. Strange. I don't recall writing any poetry up there. A bard's poems are like fallen leaves in the forest. When inspiration strikes, a few lines are left behind, and when the wind blows, they scatter and drift, each carrying the seed of a new story.
God.
But fortunately, even scattered verses are somehow woven
Sorry, I'm
together
not very
by the
chatty today because
unseen
I'm
threads of
very tired.
fate. They're like us.
I
in
said it
that
before,
way,
but
I
it's really been a
suppose.
week.
That's the charm of a bard. They can turn the simplest words into something incredible. Duh. Why can't I do that, huh?
I haven't slept for shit this week. Oh, gosh. Last night was
Well,
rough.
Momo, that's quite a unique way to compliment someone. It's a shame that the Behemoth's time is running so short. You would have loved
What did he say that was so unique? It's quite a unique way to compliment someone. Wow.
Do you mean that Frostbow Behemoth that's close to its final slumber? Yes, it loves meeting interesting people. Beings, I should say. If it knew you'd come to send it
We're
off
only 8
too,
days into the year and
it
the
would
last
be
7 have been
delighted.
exhausting. That's code for fuck you too. I know, but he didn't even say anything rude. He was just like, man, bards are so cool. I wish I could do that. It wasn't offensive.
Wait, so those people we saw earlier were here to say goodbye to the Frostbow Behemoth too? That's right. To the world, the Behemoth is a mighty and dangerous creature. Only here in this quiet place can someone truly get close to it. It's almost as if it's written into their very nature. When they grow old and weary, they follow the moonlight to the forest of slumber. There they forever rest in a sea of flowers.
That's cute.
Some come here to mourn through great works. Others sit in silent prayer. As for me, I only wish to sing it off to sleep.
Why does the song sound so cheerful?
It sounds like you and the Frostbow Behemoth have a very special bond. But your song, it doesn't sound sad at all. If anything, it feels quite cheerful. Why is that?
They're pronouncing Behemoth wrong? Are they?
I know what you mean. The Behemoth and I are close friends, and I'm heartbroken to say goodbye. At the same time,
I don't know
though,
how to properly
who says a
pronounce it then,
farewell
maybe.
must be filled with sorrow. For Behemoths, the final slumber is a brand new beginning. They continue to watch over the forest in a calmer, more eternal way. I would much rather send my friend off with joyous verse than do nothing but drown in my tears.
That's fair.
I see.
But still, that doesn't change the fact that it's leaving, does it? We won't ever see it again, right?
Behemoth.
Even so, we'll be okay. Life is a long poem,
Well,
and every line deserves to be savored.
I've only ever really read the word or heard it pronounced like this, so.
Here, take this. It's a poem I wrote. May it inspire you on your journey ahead.
Thank you. Behemoth! Behemoth.
A behemoth? How did a young behemoth get here?
Oh, it's a
out of the way!
baby!
Didn't they say there was only an
Behemoth.
old frostbow behemoth in the forest of slumber?
Wait a second. It's white. It's a young behemoth.
It's a baby!
How interesting. Behemoth evolution is highly dependent upon the survival of the fittest. Young behemoths that turn white are typically considered weaker compared to other varieties, leaving them little chance at surviving.
Most people pronounce it phonetically, so I don't blame you.
This is the largest young behemoth that has turned white I've ever seen.
Behemoth.
It also appears to have survived longer than other white young behemoths. I need to record this discovery immediately.
Hi, baby!
Don't come any closer! Help me!
He's not doing anything, he's just a baby. Scary baby.
Watch out, Nikki! Don't worry. I'll protect you.
Momo? Other way around.
It's okay, Momo. By the looks of it, This seems to be a fairly young, sprout-born behemoth. It's likely much less aggressive than a fully grown one.
He's a baby.
However, it's clearly agitated. We'll need to find a way to calm it down first.
I can do
You're
that.
right. If it keeps running around like that, it might hurt itself or put others in harm's way. Let me try.
Momo, politely, you are 1'2". Momo's the same size. Momo can fight.
It's no use. Wait, I think I know what's wrong. The poor thing's caked in mud. It must be uncomfortable. That might be what's making it so anxious.
I mean, he is Momo of the Momo clan, so.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? It's the perfect time to use the animal grooming outfit.
Exactly. Don't worry, Melody.
Lol,
We
what
can
mud?
handle
I
this.
don't know.
We'll just need your help. Leave it to me. I can
Maybe
keep
it's because my
track of
graphics
what
settings are
needs the
set so
grooming.
low.
How does that sound, Miss Nikki?
Hi, Papa. Hi, little baby. Oh, he's so cute. Yeah, other arm. No, they definitely didn't make an asset for that. That's, yeah, probably not. He's so cute and fluffy. Oh! Sorry, his face is killing me. Oh, it's so cute!
Nikki, are you okay?
I'm fine, don't worry. The behemoth looked so scared while I was grooming it, but it never tried to attack me. I don't think it meant me any harm.
Little baby.
This young one is quite a bit smaller than an average sprout-born behemoth. Not only that, but it seems to have a familiar aura around it. Could it be related to the frostbow behemoth in the forest?
Wait, I think I know what it's trying to say. Could you repeat that?
This behemoth has aura? Yeah, look at him.
Human. Forest. Fell over. Help? Behemoth language is a little tricky, but I think I got the gist. It's asking us to head to the forest and help save the Frostbow Behemoth.
Melody, do you really think the frostbow behemoth in the forest is beyond saving? Miss Nikki, do you know why we call it the frostbow behemoth? Frostbow. Boughs! Is it because the horns that sprout from its head will eventually grow into the shape of tree boughs? Wow! Good eye, Miss Nikki!
Wow! Why does she sound so sarcastic?
Sprouts symbolize new life. Every young behemoth is like a newly sprouted spring shoot, full of vibrant energy. That's why they're called sprout-born behemoths. As they grow older, the sprouts on their head grow strong, stretching into giant branches before withering away and falling off. Their fur becomes snowy white, and their towering horns spread out like branches in the wind. It's when the last flower on their branches withers away that their life comes to an end. For the behemoth, this is the circle of life. For you and me, the same can also be said. We too must meet our end one day.
She's not sarcastic, she just has a very, unique way of complimenting people.
I see. Melody, I still want to follow the young behemoth into the forest. What if there's still hope? Maybe the frostbow behemoth is just sleeping. No one's ever seen it themselves, right? Everyone only knows it from that poem. All things have cycles, beginnings and ends, like leaves falling to the ground. It's something we can't change by will alone.
Good thing I have more than will. I have the power of style.
But you must follow your heart, Miss Nikki. This instinctive love for life of yours.
Oh yeah, it's totally
For me,
existential.
it's the most admirable thing about you. Thank you, Melody. Then, would you like to come with us? Let's go, little one. The Forest of Slumber is still the Behemoth's domain. Please be careful, Miss Nikki. All right, then. I wish you luck on your journey. Close your eyes. Time to rest. Time to keep the promises that we make.
Why is she going all sepia?
Golems growing out of the bushes? And that glimmer?
Oh, cool.
If all seems pointless, will you still pursue? If the ending's already set, would you write it all the same? Momo, this is...
Nikki, look! What is that?
This feels very Alice in Wonderland to me. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Hang on, we need an Alice in Wonderland outfit. We need a Nikki in Wonderland outfit. Let's see, do I have a dress that's like Alice-y? The what? Oh, the PCs. Yeah, okay. We can go visit the if we have time, we'll go visit the PCs. This is a little bit Alice-y. Alright, let's start with this. Yeah, I really want, like, this one. Unlock, reach evolution stage 1. Let's see. Wait, I thought oh, evolution stage 1. I may not have that. May not have the second version of it. What season was it? No. Was it? It wasn't fireworks season. No, it was fireworks season. I need the second version of this dress, which I don't have. Oops. Sorry, that's not what I meant to do. That means I would have to... Not that. I would have to... Desktop reveal. Whoops. It's fine. I've been doing it all stream. I would have to resonate this. And get the whole thing. Yeah, I don't even have enough Stellar rights. Yeah. Alright, we'll come up with something else, Alice. Okay. Alice in Wonderland. Or rather, Nikki in Wonderland. Which is kind of this whole game. This whole game is very Alice coded. This is so pretty. This version of this dress, I like it a lot. I could do a yellow Alice. But Nikki feels pink to me, so maybe a pink? Because it's Nikki, it's not, you know... It's Nikki in Wonderland. Miss. Oh, there it is. I want, like, even that pink is, like, kind of... But it's also, like, Frostborn Behemoth, right? So, like, maybe blue is the way to go? Does this one dye any better? It might. It's got the zoomies. This one does dye better, I think. Was it? I don't know. None of these, I mean, none of these, like, scream Alice to me. Like, some of them are like, okay, yeah, it's close. That's really pretty. Can I get this one to white though? On the apron? I don't think so. I don't have white. Can't even get white on this one because it's a 3-star. I hate that there's colors restricted by the star rating of the outfit. That's so annoying. We could go with the grass palm one. This is a little bit Alice-y. Can't dye this item. What is it, like a 2-star? Is that why? Can't dye. What if I wanna? Maybe I should just give up. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll figure this out later. And we'll just keep going with the outfit we already made because I don't wanna like waste a bunch of time. There's no running. So he's like, hurry, you gotta help me, and then I can't run. Gas pierced through the— oh god, it's too fast! And that's me. Like, I'm fast at reading. Okay.
Momo, we came back.
It all happened so fast. I didn't even have time to react. Like waking up in the middle of a dream. Except we weren't even asleep.
That silhouette we saw, that must have been the Frostbow Behemoth, right?
Maybe it didn't want to be seen, so it sent us away.
Was it because of the poems? Or the glimmer?
Oh yeah, it might have been the glimmer. I mean, that's what brought us here in the first place, but why would it send us there, only to bring us back?
Fading summer, silent, lone, a season lost to view.
Which seems to have been quite
All
short-sighted
seems
with these
pointless.
streets maxing at
Will you
25.
still pursue?
That sucks. What the heck?
Then it says, if new branches weep, if joy gives way to pain, if the ending's already set, would you write it all the same?
Pointless. A set ending.
Oh, Nikki, I think I get it now.
I think I do too. It's saying that everything is in vain because the ending was written long ago. The more we struggle, the more sorrow we feel. Like tender sprouts that can never be seeds again. Or the hustle and bustle of midsummer coming to an end.
Is it talking about us trying to save the Frostbow Behemoth?
Yes. We might even end up making the young behemoth suffer more by trying to help.
But
life is so precious. And the young behemoth was so excited to invite us into the forest. Maybe we can help it.
that's right. We can't give up so easily. If we miss our only chance to help the Frostbow Behemoth, we'll regret it.
Yeah. We'll
The
save
glimmer's
it.
back, Nikki. It landed on that drawing paper over there.
Is it because of our response? Let's go take a look. It's a strong, full-grown behemoth. The way it runs through the forest is so graceful. There's some faint writing on the back of the paper. Through verdant years, we walked as one, where forest shade met glinting sun. Vines of light and shadow spun, and verses of our bond were sung.
Ooh. I like that animation. It's very pretty. You got a 50 streak? Maybe it's just no longer every stream. Maybe it's milestone now.
Wow, it looks like a snowy mountain up close.
Melody said that when the white flowers on a behemoth's horns wither away, its life is coming to an end. If you can see them, that means we still have a chance.
Come on.
Don't worry, we're all here. Just tell us what you need us to do.
It says hello to both of us, and it wants to say thanks. It's asking if we can use these things it found earlier. These healing supplies to help Papa? It must be referring to this frostbound behemoth. It says Papa's body isn't as warm as it usually is, and it's been sleeping a lot more. Aww. It says when Papa sleeps, he cries out in pain.
Aww.
It's really worried. Papa hasn't spoken to it for days. It thinks Papa might be sick. It says it's seen many humans and trumlings before, and they all had magic jars? When someone felt as bad as Papa, they'd take out something soft that smelled nice to make them get better. So it thought if it could just find similar things, Papa would surely recover. It searched all around and gathered a bunch of them. But it doesn't know how to use them, so it needs to find someone who could help.
It remembered what healing looked like, and it's trying its very best to ease the Frostbow Behemoth's pain in the only way it knows how.
That's so sweet.
Good job, little one. You've done so well.
It's a good boy.
It says Papa is really important to it. Papa took care of it when it was all alone and helped the little guy survive.
Aww.
It doesn't want to lose Papa. Papa's the best in the whole world.
Aww.
It says it'll give all of its treasures to the person who's willing to help.
We don't need your treasures, little
You
guy.
and
We'll
Papa
help
are just
you.
like me and Momo. In human language, we call each other family. Family means that no matter what happens, we can count on each other. Keep your treasures, little one. We'll do whatever we
We
can
don't need
to
your
help you and
treasure,
Papa.
baby.
No need to thank us.
Now let's take a look at these healing supplies and see if there's anything.
This is either gonna be a lovely story or utterly heart-wrenching. It is Infinity, Nikki. It could go either way.
Herbs, powders.
Let's pick. How about this one?
This says rest powder. It's supposed to restore energy and help you feel refreshed. Sounds like the best option here, but...
Looks like we'll still have to figure something out ourselves. Still,
Right. And it might... Oh. These leaves, aren't these the kind snails love to eat? But as medicine, it probably won't help much.
25 out of 25 for each stream. Huh. Weird.
This jar's... My instinct tells me that even with all... The closer we get, the more I see just how weak the Frostbow Behemoth really is. Even its voice sounds tired. It says, don't be afraid, and that Papa won't hurt us.
He got no
we're not
teeths.
here to
Where's his
hurt you
teeths?
or the young behemoth. We're here to help. This is the medicine the young behemoth found. If you take it, it should ease the pain. And
You have a
help you
29
rest.
streak? Nice.
Huh? It's... Huh? You don't need it. It's asking us to leave.
Leave? Why?
It says it's no use. It thanks us for our kindness, but it wants us to go before the young behemoth gets back. It'll tell the little one that it's already taken the medicine. It says that this is natural. It's the final stage of its life cycle. It's just worried about the young behemoth. Nikki, should we...
Please, take this medicine and rest, Papa. I know you're worried. This way you can stay with the young behemoth for just a little longer.
It says we're the strongest duo it's ever met.
Seeing them snuggling together like this.
Twitch made something
Can't
kind of
imagine how
broken?
heartbroken the young
What?
behemoth would be if Papa were really gone.
I know.
I mean, I love
Young
my
behemoth
overlords.
Finally found someone like Papa.
We love Twitch.
Now it might have to be all alone again.
Please don't ban me. Stay with the behemoth so it doesn't have to die alone.
Just like the poem says, all our efforts will be in vain.
Nikki, why do things have to die? If no one ever died, then we could always be together. No sadness, no grief. We could just be happy forever.
I did not know what this update was gonna be, by the way. I am shook. I'm a little bit shook.
But if life never ended, how would we know the depth of our love for one another? Melody.
Nikki is always bringing the surprisingly grim. Yeah. Well, because the last update, it was like, hey, look. Like, it's a little bit, you know, sucky because adventure, right? Every adventure has to be a little bit sucky. But mostly it was like, you can ride snails and talk to these mushroom people and float around. It's fun. And this one's like,
to the little cabin.
death.
If life never ended,
This was a silly dress-up game. Oh no. Oh no.
What did Melody mean by that?
Oh, I get it. Every
Welcome
time
to
we're faced with a
Infinity,
difficult
Nikki.
question like that,
But when we find an answer, the glimmer shows
You
up
never
and
know
tells
what's
us
gonna
another
happen in the
story.
next update with Infinity Nikki. It's either gonna be the most heartwarming thing ever and like wholesome, or it's like this. What about the queen and her sister, the doll, who couldn't leave each other but also couldn't interact? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
but where are all these questions coming from anyway? Who's giving them to us? And why didn't Melody get sent back with us?
Like, we had the bath update. and we also had the fireworks update. And then we had that, or PCs who forget what they are and live in the slums. Yeah. I'm realizing the infinity means the breadth of topic snail cover. You could ride snails. Death, winter, cold, huddle together in the time that you have, lest you freeze alone in the blizzard of life. Yeah.
Never mind. We've got to focus on
Death. Love's depth. Does this mean that death's existence strengthens the power of love?
Well, yeah.
I guess that sounds right, but wait. Love is a miracle all on its own. Why does it need death to measure its worth? Just like Papa and the young behemoth. Their love was so deep, and death had nothing to do with it. They could have been happy forever. Isn't that better?
Forever. Wait, Momo. If life lasted forever, would Papa and the little one's love even exist? Papa protected the young behemoth and saved its life. That's how the two of them became each other's chosen family.
That's true.
You mean if the little one could never die, Papa wouldn't have needed to save it? They might have never gotten to love one another?
Yeah, that's true, actually.
And the little one trying everything they could to keep Papa alive. That wouldn't have happened either? I think I understand.
I think I do too. Life is so fragile that saving and protecting someone becomes that much more meaningful. That's why Papa rescued the little one and cared for it with such tenderness. And that's why the little one did everything it could to ease Papa's pain. Death strengthened their love, in a way. An inescapable end to a wonderful story. But that love won't die with Papa. It'll live on forever in the young behemoth's memory.
Wow.
This is so
That
sad.
makes so much sense now.
Maybe what we really fear isn't death itself, but that the deep love we have for one another might
This is
fade
the
away
most
with it.
existential it's gotten, I think. Like, the most obviously existential.
The glimmer.
It's literally
back.
just straight
Looks
up
like we found the
saying
right
it.
answer, Nikki. There it is, on that phone.
I know, me
Let's
too,
take a look.
Kedge. I'm like, what the fuck? I was having a bad time, and I thought Infinity Nikki would be fun, wholesome time.
It's a slumbering frostbow behemoth. The verse on the page reads,
The ground's veins began to tremble, and mottled horns.
I think they love saying this shit. Oh no, yeah, I know they do.
Branches
But,
broke through the soil.
I mean, your bad
transforming
time just
into
gives meaning to
verdant
good times, right? That's true.
We're back.
Melody, you came back? I did. I've come to see friends, new and old. It's been so long since I've seen it sleep so peacefully. Thank you.
Now put together a fierce fit to defeat this gang.
We were hoping to find another way, but it.
Papa is a kind behemoth. It knew its life was coming to an end, and it didn't want you to worry or struggle for nothing. The little one was its only concern. I just don't know how the poor thing will manage from now on. It'll grow up strong. Love heals wounds, and gives courage too, doesn't it? Besides, behemoths are naturally independent creatures. The little one's calmed down quite a bit since you've been away. Has the young behemoth really made peace with Papa's passing? I can't help but wonder if we could have done more to help. I know the behemoth is young, but it has such a strong sense of life for its age. It's just not quite ready to face the truth yet.
Who is?
But this day was always coming, whether we liked it or not. All we can do is be there for the little one.
You seem to know a lot about behemoths. More than most scholars and adventurers, even.
You're quite the curious one. But my story with behemoths began with a bit of curiosity, too. When I was little, I was fascinated by behemoths. I'd hide away and watch them for hours. My interest in them continued as I got older. I eventually discovered that they sometimes followed the sound of my songs.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow. Who knew they had such an artsy side?
I've traveled far and wide these past few years, learning as much as I can about them. I've even named every behemoth I've ever met. And this frostbow behemoth's name is Hesper.
Esper.
So Papa is the little one's special nickname for it?
That's right. I still remember when it loved roaming around at night, chasing glimmers in the woods and gazing up at the stars. I named it Hesper after the shining starlight. Unfortunately, even the brightest stars will one day burn out.
True. Well, Hesper isn't his name either. You just named him that, you goob. That's what I thought too. I was like, his name is Hesper. I named him that. And I was like, are you sure that's his name?
Melody.
I wonder what our cats' names really are, you know?
But at least
Do they
still
call themselves
cherish
Nimbus
this
and
land.
Opal,
Their
or are we
story
just
isn't
calling them
over
that?
yet.
Like, Momo could ask. True.
Let's find a place to sit. I'll tell you the rest of the Behemoth story through a poem.
Doug's name is really Doug for sure.
You really love writing poetry, huh?
Poetry helps us remember. If one day you feel there's someone, something, or even a fleeting moment worth remembering forever, maybe you'll want to write it into a poem too. Before we have to say goodbye to Hesper, please listen to my poem.
Okay.
Follow me. This is where I often come
Even
to
if I
write
mostly
and
call him
find
Bubba.
inspiration.
Alright, we're gonna walk slowly through the forest. Look, my walking speed is still faster than her. Ooh, there's a thing. Hate slow escort missions. What does this do? Raises the water. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, well, I see. Okay. Hmm. How do I get back up? Oh, I can just jump. Okay. Oh, I know what I have to do. Okay, that lifts that up. Can I get over there? How do I get it back? Hmm. What? Where did the box go? Wait. Huh? Wait. Where did... Where did the box go? And there's no reset switch. Where's the... Where's the reset the puzzle button? Did I break it? I should not have been able to break it that easily. Where did the box go? Well, I pushed the box down and it disappeared. Now how do I solve the puzzle? Did it work? Did it work? No. Oh god. I gave up on these puzzles so fast. I had it! I had the puzzle! I had the puzzle solved! It was solved! Now what do I do?
Lily, we're ready. Now then, where shall I begin?
You did it! The box disappeared. It broke. It's not my fault.
Behemoth's journey begins with separation. When they walk alone into the storm, they truly know loneliness.
Dang. That is not what she's playing at all. What is happening with the game audio? I don't hear anything off. Really? I don't hear it. That's so weird. Oh. It must be a internet thing or an OBS thing? I don't know how to fix that, I'm sorry. Hopefully it fixes itself. Your system isn't keeping up with the data rate while rendering the game. Yeah, probably.
Steps of the young amidst the bloom.
That's weird. This game is so poorly optimized. My avatar is chugging? That's so weird. It doesn't look like that to me.
I listened.
It looks fine. I don't have a... Wait, now it's picking back up. Oh, okay. Because I've been keeping an eye on it. I mean, it's like a little laggy. Audio's starting to clear up? Oh, good.
And the forest, it sang along. It sang the whispers first heard.
Oh, there it goes. It doesn't like looking at the behemoth, I think.
Its song rang.
Yeah, it doesn't like looking at the behemoth.
Echoes returning back to us, where we hope to meet again.
The nature of consistently updated games makes it difficult to deliver updates in a timely manner while also optimizing things properly. Yeah. Aww. A loading screen!
Looks like the glimmer didn't leave us a question this time.
Maybe they think we fully understand now, so they sent us back? You know, with all this going back and forth, I see life and death pretty differently now.
That's right, Thulu.
Especially after hearing Melody's poem. The way that behemoths turn into trees after death to keep protecting the forest makes Papa's death seem a lot less scary.
There's a lot of puking about will you cry?
The death of a behemoth is much
What
more
the
poetic
heck
than
kind of
human.
question is that?
I used to think they'd vanish just like us, that their existence would fade over time. But instead, they take root in the forest, becoming tall trees that protect the land and everything they love. Their love isn't simply memories, stories, or influence. It's much more tangible. It's a legacy filled with hope.
When you put it that way, I'm a little jealous of those behemoths.
Even if we don't turn into trees after death, we have our own ways of passing things on. That's what life is all about. It's precious because it's finite. It's incredibly vibrant and worth
Is that
protecting
what
for
you were
generations to
going
come.
for?
When you look at it that way, death doesn't seem so scary anymore. Because our lives, our loves, our thoughts, and even our civilization will live on after we pass away.
I feel like this will be the last time. We'll bring this story to a close on this journey.
It landed on the manuscript. Let's go check it out.
Alright, let's hope that we can do this. Okay, what is that?
Seems like it's a Sprout-born Behemoth observation journal?
Oh, look how cute!
The
He's
night
all
grows brighter
toasty.
still, as countless stars ascend, telling timeless tales of life that has no end. And this
Okay.
It's so quiet tonight, and the stars are so bright. I wonder if Papa can see them too.
A star falls, and a new one takes its place. Papa can definitely see them.
Can I get also Tinder? Yuck. Alright, I'll give up on that puzzle for now. Here's the thing.
I thought only the glimmers and the starlight would accompany me tonight. Just Papa, the little one, and me, greeting the new life. These glimmers, could they just be ordinary ones? Why
It's a dating
not?
app for chicken nugget fans.
It feels like they've been deliberately guiding us. Do you remember that mysterious poetry book? And they were the ones who brought us from the forest cabin to this place, guiding us to listen to the stories here. Whenever an unsolvable question popped up,
Not to be
they'd send
confused
us
with
back.
only can.
We disappeared right after you finished reciting your poem. Didn't you notice?
Disappeared? But I clearly saw you two sleeping. How did you get back? When we responded to a question, the glimmers appeared again and brought us back here.
I still don't know who's asking those questions. Some of them were super hard to answer.
Almost like, I don't want to be existential. I don't want to think about death. How dare you? How dare you make me think about death?
Perhaps there was never a person asking at all. Maybe it was simply an echo from within. If that's truly the case, then I believe the only possible answer is that it's the land itself calling to you and blessing you. This land.
How dare you challenge my notions of morality?
But watching something die, can you really call that a blessing?
From another point of view, what we witness has never been death. Death is merely the moment when life sheds its old form and takes its first steps toward eternity. Fear, sorrow, longing, confusion. These are only the prelude to that journey. In the end, love and hope compose the everlasting verse.
Ow. Oh no, it's gonna chonk. It's chonking. Sorry, guys. Man, there's always that guy at a party. Breaking out the guitar. The frame rate looks like a 90s point and click. Oh no.
The moon tonight, peaceful.
Well, you guys will just have to play it for yourself to see it in, you know, 4K. Ooh, it's new outfit time. Check this shit out.
Saplings ascend as if inviting her near.
Little baby Behemoth is so cute. Oh god, I chose the wings correct. The wings were the correct choice. Oh, they're so pretty. I'm gonna add them to so many outfits. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at the makeup. I hope I can get those eyelashes. Like the Twitch overlords would be willing to bless us with bandwidth capable of 4K anyways. Yeah, true. Oh, sorry, baby Behemoth.
Help the darkness fade away. Our story continues on and on to music without end.
Yesterday's stars set, then rose again. Having walked through the thick shade of the tree of life, you can calmly choose the way back. I can't read this fast enough! Our story continues on and on to music without end. Here's a song to make you feel better. Yeah, really.
Nikki, I know we said our goodbyes, but I still feel a lingering sadness in my heart.
Is it because of the glimmers? Why does the tree that Papa became look so different from the others? Maybe it's not
With an
just the
undoubtedly
glimmers.
translated rhyme scheme.
I'd like to
Yeah.
believe it was you who brought Hesper a
Well,
new
this
kind
game,
of rebirth.
you know, its native language is Chinese, so
It's
we have to
so unique
forgive
and
the
beautiful. Now I
translation
know the young
sometimes.
Behemoth will always be able to find his papa.
Speaking of the little one, it seems Papa entrusted its care to Miss Nikki. Is there anything I can help with? Momo and I don't have much experience raising critters, let alone something as special and massive as a behemoth. We wouldn't know where to start. Let me think. I've never raised a behemoth either, but I do know a few of their habits. Behemoths are forest creatures and can't live too close to human settlements. I do know a good spot. Maybe we can build a behemoth sanctuary for them there.
Cool. Behemoth Sanctuary.
A behemoth sanctuary?
Hell yeah.
You two can't let the little one traipse around the Elderwood Forest with you forever, can you? It just lost its family and needs a safe place to heal. You're right. That would be amazing.
Totally! It sounds like a great idea.
Then let's give this project a name. How about the Behemoth Guardian Project?
Since Nikki named the project, I want to name the sanctuary. Let's call it Warm Fur Home. You know, for warm and fluffy.
Those are two wonderful names. Once the young behemoth feels a bit better, let's go visit the place together, shall we?
Yeah.
Yay!
It's a very pretty tree. I wonder if I've just completely lost that wind star. They wouldn't do that. I'm sure I can find it in the modern realm or something. I don't know. Wherever we are, whenever we are, you know. There's a warp spire here. Does it count as activated? Yeah, it does. Ham remembers gambling exists. Aw, look at him playing with the
I hope all we
behemoth.
build are warm for home, right here.
Great idea. I've looked around a bit. It feels perfect.
We can set up a warm little nest for the young behemoth with a soft
I've been so
mat.
restrained, I'm basically
His
Luke
favorite
level
food
wealthy
here.
now.
This open space is perfect for it to play in.
Great. Nikki, you're awake? Did building warm for home wear you out?
Or is your poetic inspiration just taking its time?
Oh, it's pink now.
If Nikki's poem isn't finished yet, will the Warm for Home opening ceremony still go ahead tonight?
Absolutely. I already have an idea. The poem will be finished soon.
I love Nikki's pink poem book. It's cute.
There is a story here just begun, where we can find hope growing. Peaceful the night with sweet
The behemoth
dreams
found this
flowing,
stupid hat for you.
just
Oh, hell
like a
yeah.
melody.
Aw, it has a whimsicality that's cute. I love this giant stupid hat. I love it so much. Your reign of terror will end. Ow. Let's see what we get. Please give me the stupid hat. Ooh. We got the hair. We got the hat. Let's go. Alright, I'm happy. Ooh. $16 like real months? Real 16 real months? Alright, what are we naming? What are we naming this, oh, that like dreading ennui just to get a hat. Glubbins? Growing babies does take time. But it says it, yeah. How do we feel about Glubbins? Nubbins? We feel great about Glubbins. Gotta wait 16 real months or move to China to speed up the process. I'm not moving to China. It seems you get to be able to have multiple words, so how about Glubbins McFloof? Gunther. Alright, let's do a Glubbins McFloof. I kinda like Glubbins. Glubbins McFloof. There we go. It's too long! Nuggets McFloofer. I think that's too long. I can do Nugget McFloof. We can do Nugget McFloof. Nuggets, though? I like Nugget. We'll call him Nugget. Can't believe we're 4 again. I can. His name is Nugget. No. So... give him brush. Welcome to poor. You have the most hugs given on the airport. Alright, so what do I have to do if I want to construct this? Interact with... okay. Got it. Oh, okay, it's just materials. Easy. So I can just kind of wander around and construct all these things.
When I catch that first ray from the sun, I can't help but look forward to another day of adventure.
Ooh, look at that big butt! Look at the bed! Look at that big bed! That's a big bed. Fluffy bed! Okay. Ooh.
It's morning already. Let's kick off today's adventure with vim and vigor.
Okay, where's Nugget? Nugget's here. So I got all these now. Range and trigger a total of 2 growth events. Reach a total of 200. Total stats reach 200. Okay. Okay. Wait. Each month has 4 schedule slots available. You can freely mix and match growth events and companion events you wish to progress. By confirming the schedule will advance in order. This is so complicated. But I mean, I guess I can just do that. Oh, it's not 16 real months. Crying shawl deer. The behemoth fondling encountered a crying injured shawl deer in the forest. The behemoth fondling comforted the shawl deer fawn. The behemoth fondling used nearby herbs to treat the shawl deer fawn's wounds. Yeah, you can use nearby herbs to... yeah. But Infinity Nikki is notoriously simple and clear. Yeah. Definitely. Awakened from a nightmare, the behemoth fondling cuddled with Nikki for the first time. Aww. Yeah, we'll stay with him all night. Cutie. Why is he angry? Why can't I click on anything? You go take a nap. We got some collect. Which is good, because I really like this outfit. I think it's so cute, so I want to do these. Alright, so we got these timed ones. Let a behemoth wildling use a bathtub. Okay. So wait, I need to use... this one? Oh yeah, he's coming over. Look at that. Alright, come take a bath, bud. I'm just gonna follow what it tells me to do, because that'll probably work. Yeah, you all clean now? Use the swaying ball. Okay. I know it wants me to investigate the cavern. I'm busy. Yay, more collections. Apparently I can get more fondlings? Hey. What you play, bud? So he has energy 8 out of 10 and his mood is 9 out of 30. What? It's hiding a little secret. It remembers how its mother didn't love it, how she groomed its brothers and sisters while ignoring it completely on the day it was abandoned. Because of that, it doesn't like its own fur. Whenever Nikki brushes its fur, it'll tense up and sneakily observe if there's a lot of loose fur, seemingly believing the less fur it sheds, the more love it receives. I thought we were having wholesome hours. What? What the heck? Oh, see, and it's in month 2 now. Let's give pats. Yeah, good boy. Oh, so cute. How do I get these? I don't know. Oh, I just continue doing stuff, I think. Okay. I've been in college an entire month. This has been a long stream. Yeah, well, you know. I haven't eaten in a month, if that's true. So, you know. It only has 8 energy left with this, so that's... I think this is okay. If it has 0 energy, maybe I can just bring it over to the bed. Ah! Okay! Jeez. I took a sip of water. Just for you. Alright, so now it should be, like, low on energy. So I should probably, like, bring it over here. You haven't had water for a month! True. You eat pee? Come on, bud. There we go. You can go have a nap. Okay. I don't know what these little leaf things are. Memory do. Oh, I see. Why don't we go... Oh, my curtains. The sun is right in between my curtains. There we go. Alright, let's go see what this treasure thing is about that it's trying to get me to go towards. Let's take a little break. If we're running around, I shouldn't be running around in slippers. Get some shoes, maybe? Yeah, those ones work. How do I get to where it's trying to take me, is the question. Because there's a wall here. Oh. There's a teleport. Strap set by American capitalists. What isn't? Yeah, see, we didn't want to be in our slippers here. I was expecting my bow and I didn't have my bow. What's this? I still remember how we followed the Lumi tree and found this cavern. It was the treasure's legend that made us so obsessed with this place. There's nothing I could do. I never should have brought everyone here. Godric is gone, everyone's gone, there's no turning back. Huh. Dang. Well, time to venture further in. The treasure was just the Nikki we made along the way, yeah. Hello? It's like that bleeding heart bird. Have you guys seen that? The bleeding heart bird? They're so cool. Ooh, fishing time! There's a bird! There's a bird and its feather pattern makes it look like it's bleeding.
No.
I believe they're a type of pigeon. Are they? I don't remember. Come on. Let me groom it. Let me groom. Thanks, I hate it. Did you look it up? They're so cool. I did not and shall not. Well, what if I forced you to? It's a dove. Bleeding heart dove. Look, it's so cool! Why'd you do this to me? Cause it's cool and you need to see it. They're so cool. So he stabbed that pigeon. See? So cool. Anyways. Let's go fishing. Oh. Fishing. The pigeon came at me first.
Noodle, I caught it. I'm getting really good.
With me cheering you on, nothing's a challenge for you.
Yeah, pigeons make me sad too.
Noodle, I caught it. I'm getting really
Yeah,
good.
we totally abandoned pigeons.
With me cheering you on, nothing's a challenge for you.
Are you a difficult fish? Or are these all just common fish? Oh. Nature! This might be a difficult fish. Come on. Got it.
Now on, you can call me the fishing master.
Oh yeah, that's an
Master
uncommon
Mickey.
fish.
So
Helmet
when can I read
fish.
your expert's guide to fishing?
Pigeon people used to be a classic crazy people trope, but pigeon people are correct. Yeah, pigeon people are correct. Oh, it's a butterfly. I don't know how to get up there. I have a friend who's totally a pigeon person. They love pigeons. They New recruit asked me today why we come to such dangerous places, Elderwood Forest. Have human have pigeon? They wish. No, they rescued a pigeon once. I was up there, wasn't I? I don't know. I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I got where I'm supposed to be going. There's a wind star. I'm probably not gonna get it. We'll see. I'm just gonna kind of go up. Because I went down, and now I think up. There's the Whim Star. Get it. Yeah. Hmm. More weird slabs. Okay. Oh, can I not, like, get through here without Tenacity Pact? Is that why? There are a lot of dudes over there. Yeah, there's a lot of dudes over there. Okay. Alright, I'll go get Tenacity Pact. That's fine. Alright, let's go. I'm probably gonna be playing this game a lot this weekend. Oh, there's a snail here. Hi, snail. Without us? Yeah. I play a lot of games without you guys. Well, especially because Infinity Nikki is timed. So what? Yeah. It's true. I play games without you guys. Have you on Steam now? Oh no. I gotta be careful what I'm playing, I guess. That guy is whoa, 9 and 12? Alright. Yo, hold up. Did he spawn in the wall? Ah. Alright, come on. Alright, I think he got it. Oh, a bee. If you ever see my account playing a COD game, it's been stolen or I'm dead. Okay, cool. Good to know. Oh, I know why we have the... I know why there are bees in here. Because for some reason I can attach my sticky claw to bees. Oh, Steam supports exterminators. Oh, oh, buddy. He's in the walls. It's fine. Oh no, my headphones are dying. Excuse me. It said battery low, please charge now. Oh no, what am I gonna do? He's in the walls! He's in the goddamn walls! These guys are so cute. These little, like, sugar glider guys. They're so cute. And the snails! I love the snails. Get out of my house. Oh, Behemoth time. Nope. Where am I going? Whilst moving away from home, one friend jokingly said, "But how will we check in on you? How will we even be able to make sure you haven't died?" And I genuinely responded with a straight face, "If you see me online and I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm dead. You should call 911." Alright, here we go. Still more guys. Alright, there we go. Got it. Active tenacity. Alright. Is that this guy? Wait, which guy did I get? Oh yeah, it's the belt. The belt guy. Let's try him out. I should really start my Twitch again. YouTube is great, and I can still do that, but also just vibe on Twitch. There's different, the way that streams have been set up for Twitch and the way the streams have been set up for YouTube are so fundamentally different that it's definitely a different vibe. I have so much to do. Performing a dodge during a combo won't interrupt it. I think Kenj means posting videos versus streaming. No, yeah, Kenj live streams on YouTube. See ya, Ham. You guys still can't post links in the chat. Hey, And to walk through this water. Alright, where am I going? How do I get out of here? I think it's... How do I get out? Don't teach the bots how to bypass that. They'll learn. They'll figure it out. It still got caught, yeah. Calling us okayest is generous. Should I make world's okayest viewer merch? Get you guys a little mug. It says world's okayest viewer. I would buy that mug. Alright, I'll do it. It'll be on my Threadless. I think there's a link to that somewhere, but it doesn't have anything in it right now. Since the rebrand. I used to have a world's okayest shirt. That's really funny. Yeah! I have to get that another way. There we go. Chest. Treasure chest. Wait, read the what? I gotta go all the way over here? What is this quest? Oh my goodness. Well. Got in a couple of new custom shirts that I'm rather pleased with. One has a funny, cute cat, but the other proudly displays a vulgar word like it's a proper company name. That's funny. It is time for me to go. I don't technically have a thing, but I don't have a deadline today, but I have stuff to do today. So, also my headphones are dying, so, you know. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. And I will see you all on Monday. Maybe we'll do a little fashion stream on Monday. You should rate, I can look them up. I don't know what they're playing. They're very pleasant. I think you'd like them too. Alright, well, we'll send you guys over there. Alright, we'll send you guys over there. Don't make me regret this. I will see you guys on Monday. Alright? Bye-bye!